Don't rush through your equations. You need to reduce and simplify. Well, that's okay, 'cause you have all day. All right. Everything looks good. All right, guys. And girls, I know. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about reducing and simplify. My camera might go in and out here, but let's just see how much time we get. Oh, come on, come back to me. There we go. So we're going to start with a fairly simple equation. Let's take 4 over 5 times, let's do 10 over 16. Hey, that's some big numbers there, but that's all right. We can do it. So here we go. Top by top. 4 times 10 is 40. 5 times 16. Well, I know 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 6 is, what's 5 times 6? 30. So if we get 50 and 30, 50, 60, 70, that's 80. Okay, now as we talked a little bit in the last video, 40 over 80 is the answer. However, we know we can reduce this by more. So remember, there's a couple quick ways you can do it. Some will take longer than others. If I divide both by 10, we look for something that goes into the top that also goes into the bottom. This gives me 4 over 8. Well, what's the number that goes into both 4 and 8? Well, it's even, so I know I could divide by 2 on the top and bottom. 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Oh, hey, I can do that again, can't I? 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. There's my answer. Well, let's see if we can find something a little easier. Well, if we look at that carefully, let's go to 40 on the wonderful sheet. Where's 40? 40 is 5 times 2 times 2 times 2. Where's 80? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Well, check that out. We got 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 gives me 40. And if you're a little quicker than I am, we could have gone back to this one right here. 40 divided by 80. Well, 40 goes into 80. It's a factor. So we can divide the top and the bottom by 40. I go to right to 1 over 2. Okay, so this is the process of reducing your fractions. It is the #1 skill that you need to do in your answers. Most students get the answer and run on. As you move up higher, though, you won't get full marks. All right, so we're going to work with this question because it's a little more interesting than we've at first seen. If we have 4 over 5 times 10 over 16. The neat thing with this, hold on, let me just check something. Let's just make sure. 5, 6, 7, 8. 80, good. Just wanted to make sure I had the right math there. There's something called cross cancellation. This only works when we're multiplying. So cross cancellation means that any number on the top can be reduced by any number on the bottom. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the same fraction. Now in this one here, so we have 10 and 16. Well, 10 sixteenths, if that was an answer, if I had 10 over 16, how can I reduce that one fraction? What goes into it? They're both even. It's always a good place to start. So if I can divide by 2, that gives me 5 over 8. 5 is a prime number. His only friend is Juan. So now I could actually reduce this right down to 5/8. So you can also reduce fractions on top. Most people who write questions aren't going to make it that easy though. So what we're going to look at here is there a number across the multiplication sign that have common factors? So if we look at this one here, 4 and 16, see how we're going across? This is why it's called cross cancellation. So 4 and 16, well, 4 goes into 16 4 times. How many times does 4 go into 4? So what we're doing is we're dividing each of these numbers by 4. Divided by 4, divided by 4. 4 divided by 4. Now, I would like you to cross this out and we put the new number just above or below. 16 divided by 4 gives me 4. Now up here, see how we had 2, we divided by 2 and divided by 2? Is that not the same as dividing by 4? So we've actually got that done out of the way first. It's fantastic. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at these crosses. So 10 and 5. Is there a number that goes into both 10 and 5? 5, that's right. So here, 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. 10 divided by 5 gives me 2. Right? Now, if you look carefully, we still have 1 more here because I have 2 and I have 4. Well, what goes into 2? And 4? 2 goes into 2 once. If we divide 4 by 2, we get 2. Now when we multiply, we're doing the last one. So it's 1 times 1 gives me 1. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So we end up with the exact same answer. See it? We get this one and we get that one. The difference is if you don't cross cancel out the top by the bottom ahead of time, you're going to have to do it in the end. And it's much easier to simplify the numbers before you start to multiply. So let's look at another one. I'll write down a question here. I'm going to put all the numerators, which is the top numbers, in blue. So let's go 4 times 7. Oh, and just for kicks, let's make it another one. Times 11. Now for my denominators. We'll do these ones in red. So we're going to go 16, 21, and 44. This is kind of a typical problem that you'll see. As I said before, there are generally multiple ways you can do this. So remember, any number on the top, any numerator can be reduced with any denominator. Now what that means is that it doesn't matter where they are, because this is all multiplication. It's all multiplication. The cumulative law of multiplication states it doesn't matter what order we multiply any of these in. So we could go through and go 4 times 7 times 11, gives us a big number. 44 times 16, right? Times 21, give us another big, huge number. But we would actually prefer to reduce it before we start all that. So let's get going. Is there a number, is there a denominator that shares a factor with 4? What 44 does. Does 21? No, it's odd. But 16 I know I can reduce quite quickly because, well, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So what we can do is 4 divided by 4 gives us 1. 16 divided by 4 gives us 4. So we've cross-canceled there. Canceled out the original one and found a factor that goes into both. Now let's go to the next one, 7. Does 7 go into 44? No. Does 7 go into 21? Yes, it does. 7 goes into 7 once. 21 divided by 7 gives me 3. Now we got one more here. We got 11. I made that one pretty obvious. 11 is actually 44 is a multiple of 11. So 11 goes into 11 once. 44 divided by 11 gives me 4. Now let's do this. We get 1 times 1 times 1. Well, that's 1. That's pretty easy. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 3 gives me, what's 3 times 6? It's 18. Gives me 48. 48 over 1. So you see, if we end up with a prime factor at the end, we have caught every single reduction beforehand. So that's the goal, is to figure out how to simplify before we multiply. Let's make one a little harder. We're going to go 3 on the top. Let's go, I like 7, and let's do 5. Those are going to be our numerators. Our denominators, let's make them 9. Let's make it, what else here? Let's go 25, and actually I'm going to make this one up here 6. It's going to be a 6. That's not very clear. I'll make it really clear. 6. I want that to be a 6. That's what we're looking for. And let's make this one 49. It's supposed to be red. How am I doing for time here? Good. Got about 1 minute to finish this up. All right. We cross cancel. Let's take a look at this. First one we're going to look at, 6. Well, 6 doesn't go into 49. 6 doesn't go into 25. 6 doesn't go into 9, but do they share a factor? Let's take a look. 6 is yellow and green. 9 is green. So they share the factor 3. Okay, so if I divide 6 by 3, I get 2. So this is a little different because now they're actually sharing a factor. They're not multiples. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. Well, 7 goes into 49 1 time, 7 times. 25 is a factor of 5, so I go 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. 25 divided by 5 gives me 5. Anything else? Even, I got no evens down here. 2 times 1 gives me 2. I get 7 times 5, 35. 35 times 3, 15. 9 gives me 105. Is that right? 35. 3 times 3 is 9, 10. Yeah, 105. There's our answer. So there it is, cross cancellation. We're going to look at and simplification. Remember, it works at the end of every single question you do in fractions. You have to take it down to something called lowest terms. It's the smallest you can make a fraction. Thanks for watching.